Ready?
Yeah.
We're giving it away!
Hey guys, we are Danny and Paige from Wander Tears, and in this series, we are going to build a low-budget off-road camper.
All right, so we're doing this for two reasons. We want to make sure that everybody has the resources that they need to build a low-budget off-road teardrop camper. Actually, this one's going to be a little bit different than a teardrop, but that's number one. Number two is when we're finished with it, we're going to give it away. More on that later. So this video series is going to be broken down into 6 videos. We're going to release a video every 2 weeks or so.
If you want the budget sheet that we're going to be using for this build and all of our builds, you can find the link in the description below.
But before we get started, we wanted to shout out Jackery for sponsoring this video and the entire series. Thank you, Jackery. We love you. More on that in a little bit. There's 3 aspects of this build that we wanted to incorporate, and which is going to be off-road ability and functionality. That's kind of 1. 2 is going to be affordability, and 3 is simplicity. We want this to be the easiest build possible out there, so anybody can do it and on any budget. Once again, if you want to learn how to enter this giveaway, you got to watch to the end of the video. But now let's head into the office where I'll show you the design and talk about the build methods. So the first scene here, this is going to be the 2D image of the camper. So I always build this first, and this basically is an X-ray view of the side of it. So this whole structure is 8 feet long. You can see down in the bottom right, it says 8 feet. That's essentially a piece of plywood. In the United States, they're exactly 96 inches. So, and then here from the bottom to this top, just one line under, it should be 4 feet. So that's right at 48 inches or 4 feet. And then I go in and add all the different materials. So this is going to be a wall in the back of the interior. This is going to be a shelf. And then this part in the back is going to be the countertop, and then another shelf in the galley. That's pretty much where we're at. So this is going to be the floor frame. Now these are going to be 2x4s, and in the United States, a 2x4 is actually 1.5 inches by 3.5 inches. You can see there. And then in between each of the 2x4s is going to be 1.5 inch foam insulation. The bottom sheet is going to be 1/4 inch, top sheet is going to be 1/2 inch. Now if we jump up here to the roof, you can see these are 2x2s. Now actually what they are is a ripped in half 2x4. So it's a little bit more than 1.5 inches. And that's just because it's a 3.5 inch board ripped in half. And then on top of that, the ceiling is going to be made out of 1/8 inch plywood. The exterior plywood is going to be also 1/8 inch utility plywood. All right, so this is going to be the final project. This is going to be a 5x8 trailer frame made out of 2x2 steel. It's all welded. This particular model shows it on a leaf spring. It could also be on timbrins, but this is what it looks like on a heavy duty trailer frame that we build here in the house. Now the second option, it looks like this trailer skipped leg day, and this is actually the Ironton trailer frame as it comes. So what we're gonna do is change out the tires. Now it looks a little bit better. Now we're going to walk you through the design or the build process and exactly what steps we're gonna go through. Now this is a 10-step model. Obviously there's a few steps in between, but for demonstration purposes, we're just gonna show you this. Number 1, this is just the trailer frame. This has the bigger wheels on it, and this is the Ironton trailer frame from Northern Tool. They come and go out of stock. They're usually $550. They also have an aluminum version, which is around $800 or $900 USD. But it's a great option to get started, and it's super low budget. Number 2 is going to be the floor. So this is just the first step of the floor. We have the 1/4 inch plywood on the bottom, 2x4 framing in the floor, and then we'll fill in these areas with 1.5 inch foam insulation. Step 3 is going to be adding the insulation and then adding the 1/2 inch plywood on top. Step 4, now we've added one wall and the back bulkhead. All right, let's move on to number 5. Okay, so now we've installed the interior cabinet, and obviously that's been pre-assembled, and then the front portion of the wall here, so the front wall, it also has an angle cut, and that's to match the angle in the walls. We move on to 6. This is just adding in the galley components. You really need one of these spacers here, or one of these partitions, what we call them, and that helps level out the countertop here. You might even want 2 of them to put one here and on the other side. It's up to you. Step 7 is going to include the remaining wall and the back wall with the giant door. All right, moving on to number 8. Now we've started assembling the roof panels. We're actually going to build both panels. So this is one panel, this is another panel. We're going to build those individually out of the camper, and then once the camper shell is complete, we're just going to set it in there, screw it in, and then it's going to be ready for wiring. And then the final step is going to be closing it in with some more exterior plywood. Obviously, we will have wired everything by this point, run any kind of electrical that we need, and it'll be ready for the exterior. So after step 10, you're basically free to do whatever you want with the exterior. So for us, we're going to put fiberglass on the entire thing, the bottom, sides, and the top, and we're going to use Raptor liner to completely cover the exterior. So next up, we're actually going to get started building the trailer frame, and Paige is going to help me. We'll see you in the shop. So if you look here, we've put in the cross member here, and all along this there's like a gap, a pretty big gap here. It's like 3/16. Yeah, so we need to take these out, put in, I don't want to tighten it right here so it'll squeeze it. Instead, we'll just put in a couple washers, and yeah, hopefully that fills the gap, and I hope we have enough washers. I think these will work. See if 2 washers is enough. I think that's good. Yeah. All right, that's it. So we need 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22 washers.
Okay, now question. Would it not make sense to put 1 washer on either side instead of 2 on one side?
No, because we want the top to be flush, as close to flush as possible, so that there's less gap.
But isn't that the bottom?
One down. We wanted to take a moment to talk about why we're using a Jackery solar generator as the primary power source for this camper build. To sum it up, Jackery provides a power solution that's both simple and affordable compared to the alternatives.
So let's talk about simplicity. Most DIYers taking on a camper build are not electricians. So the idea of installing separate inverters, solar charge controllers, batteries, and battery monitors can be overwhelming. Not to mention finding which brands are the most reliable and how to actually install them together.
But with the Jackery, everything is integrated in one compact unit that does it all. No need for multiple devices or complex setups, just plug it in and you're powered up.
And when it comes to affordability, the choice is clear. Piecing together a system with the same capabilities of a Jackery can cost you thousands in components and installation. But with Jackery, you get an all-in-one portable power solution for a fraction of the cost, plus the added bonus of portability.
For this build, we're using a Jackery Explorer 1000 V2. But depending on your budget or what you plan to power, there's a wide variety of models that fit any price bracket. It's not just the power station, it's peace of mind for your adventures and your wallet.
So, if you're like us and you want something simple and affordable for your camper, or really any outdoor adventure, we highly recommend Jackery.
It's been a total game changer for us. Now back to the build. Now from here to here, it's 54 inches. So we want to move it back 9 inches. If we were to leave it where it is right now and then have it full of food and ice and all that good stuff, the back of it's going to weigh everything down, and then use the wheels as a fulcrum, and then the tongue will have no weight and it'll be dangerous to tow it. So we want about 10% of that, and we found that in these 5x8 setups with the galley, around 60 to 62 inches or 65% of the length works out pretty well. Okay, so here's, you can see the little knob right here. That's where the axle will sit, kind of sits over that. So what we want to do, so it's about 54 inches. We want to get this to 62 inches, which is right there. All right, so let me show you what we're doing with the axle and the axle hangers. Now the original holes for the axle hangers go right here. So it would sit right there, and this one would sit right here. And then the leaf spring sits in there. There's a bolt that goes through this hole and through the leaf spring. And then the back of the leaf spring, I don't know exactly what it's called, but as it springs, it kind of slides back and forth. So that's how that works. What we want to do is take it from 54 inches where it's at right here back to 62 inches. So what we did was we removed this bolt that's in line with this center cross piece. We're going to use that hole for the front axle hanger. And then we're going to move this one. We're also going to push this one back, and we're going to use the original axle hanger hole, but it's going to be attached to the front of the axle hanger. Now we've drilled 2 extra holes. So that was there, that's a new hole. That one was there, that's a new hole. Now the problem is, this is where the one of the cross member comes, and you're supposed to have a bolt there. So what we did is just welded it right here. So now that's secured. We don't have to worry about that. Another thing you could do is actually would take a little bit more longer to do, but move this cross member back to line up with this. So what you'll have to do there, you'll drill a hole there for this cross member, and then you'll also have to drill one on the other side and then on the top. So this is the bottom right here, but that would get you out of actually welding right there. So we think it's pretty critical to actually move it back to 62 inches, or 60 inches to 62 inches, just to give the back of the camper a little bit more stability. If you don't move it back and you have a bunch of stuff in the galley, then it kind of becomes dangerous while you're driving down the road because it lifts the front of the trailer frame up. It kind of gives the tongue no weight, and that could result in some swaying on the highway. So you don't want to do that. That's dangerous. Pizza's here.
Yep, baby.
So I just wanted to give you a quick update. Yesterday, Paige and I both were feeling pretty under the weather while we were building the trailer frame. So we ordered a pizza, and Paige got back and was like, I need to go home. So we left. We're gonna try to get the trailer frame done in the next couple of hours. So that's where we're at now. So we're back in the shop now, and let's just give you a little update of where we left off. So when we left, we were trying to get this axle attached underneath, or I guess on top of the leaf spring, and it wouldn't fit because this nut was actually on the other side. So I ended up being able to take this nut off and pull the pin through all the leaves and just switch it around. So now the bolt is on the bottom, and it should fit on the little knob on the other side, which looks like this. So I still have to do it on this one. So that's it. Now we're done basically with the bottom side of the camper, or of the trailer frame. I still need to put on the hubs. So I still need to put on the hubs. I think it's just the hubs and the wheels, and then I'll be able to flip it over and then get the top of it finished. And then I think that's it. I still need to add a tongue jack and some of the other things that don't come with it, but we'll get to that. All right, let's do it. All right, so that pretty much wraps up the trailer frame portion. Yeah, so things we like about it, it's lightweight. I think it's 275 pounds. It's low cost, which is $550.
Yep.
It's bolt together, so you don't need a whole lot of experience welding or anything like that. And it's powder coated, so it's already finished and everything. That's really nice as well. And it comes with a VIN and the first title you need to get it registered. So that's also really simple.
Mm-hmm. You need to bring like the receipt or something as a bill of sale as well. That was something that was a little bit interesting because you buy it online. So yeah, just make sure you keep that receipt when you purchase it.
Yeah. And then a couple of the cons. The instructions just are terrible.
They're not real.
They're not, you just kind of got to figure it out on your own. All in right now, we're about $600. That's the trailer frame for $550 and the tongue jack for $50.
Mm-hmm. How much will the tires add on?
If you swap out the tires for normal size trailer tires, you can get a pair on Amazon for $300.
Okay.
Okay, so entering the giveaway.
Number 1, subscribe to our channel.
Number 2, you have to like this video.
Number 3, go leave us a comment. It can be anything from where you would take this camper to something you'd like to see, or if you have any suggestions for us.
And number 4, go down to the description, find the link that says show me the teardrop, and fill out your information on that form. And that'll get you entered into the giveaway. And if you want extra entries, you can also click the Patreon page and join our Patreon for 5 extra entries.
In our next video, we're going to be prepping all the materials, building the floor, cutting out the walls, cabinets, and epoxying.
We're gonna epoxy and fiberglass the walls, the floor, and get everything ready for the roof.
Good luck, everyone, and we'll see you in the next video.
Whoop-ooh.